Okay. Great. Great. Onegaishimasu.
Hey guys,
Okay, perfect. We will just do some fun a little bit. Just playing a little bit with the arms, just raising them out to the side, kind of keep them heavy, kind of get a little bit of a lofty feel into them. A bit up. A little bit out to the front. Kind of shaking them down. Settling the feet down. Okay, just slightly coming up and down with the knees. The fingers kind of brushing the ground if you can, nice and comfortable. Coming onto the toes a little bit at the top, stretching right up. And just leading in with the chest and front and back. If you're getting kind of pulled and pushed backwards. Great, and then just kind of keeping the body as relaxed as you can, just let the body lean forward. Just take the, when the footsteps forward, just follow it. And work with it backwards as well, just take it as far as you can. And I'm just going to kind of feel a natural step out, just take it a little bit to the back, a little bit more tricky. Then drop, follow the feet back, nice and easy. Right, and then just play with, rather than kind of coming out with the chest, just play with as you kind of take this through. Again, if you imagine someone pushing in the back, just imagine you just kind of really loosening the whole body with it. So it's like if you were to get the pressure here, you're going to receive it down. So just play with this. The back's a bit more limited than the front, but get the sense that the pressure would come here, but you actually absorb it down. And just play with it. You can bring your hands into the ground a little bit, but just play with the idea of you're going to maintain the balance in the body, whilst also keeping a little bit more flexible. Again, just play with stepping out of it as well. Just kind of follow the movement. Just play with this sense of balance as well. Good. Great, we'll just take this into a little bit rotation way. Again, you've got that same motion. Imagine someone in a way of kind of pushing the shoulders now, so you've got a little bit of an extra kind of movement. And if you imagine the kind of body's loose, the body's probably going to do something like this. It's going to kind of collapse, kind of noodle to the back. So the first you just let the body kind of noodle. Let the arms just kind of follow. Imagine yourself being pushed. And the shoulders, front and back, either side. Let the body soften. Right. Great, and then the same feeling again, just imagine the lower body's heavy, not locked into the ground, but with a feeling of being rooted. And then the body's going to kind of supplely bend with it. Again, let the movement kind of pass, as much as you can, have the feeling that it's going to pass down. So again, you're going to meet it with a kind of rotation from the center line of the body. Okay, so the body's kind of doing this. But also have the feeling you're kind of meeting it down to the ground as well. And imagine you've got a kind of strongish push going to the shoulder, again, front and back. The sense that the body can kind of really roll forwards. Again, you're a little bit more limited going backwards because of the spine. Just, you can just follow it a little bit. Give the feet freedom as well to move. That's good. Nice. Yeah, great. Great, and then just take it into this open-close movement, making your way through the spine. Just sort of a nice condensed movement, and really just focusing on the hips, pelvis. Folding in, opening out. Opening out. Just first let the spine kind of follow that motion. Let the arms kind of follow it as well. Good. Okay, good. So it's the same idea, just with a little bit of an extra kind of emphasis to it. So if you imagine that you've got a ball or something, and there's a kind of spot right in between the feet, as you close the body, as if you're kind of pushing the ball down into the ground. So you've got a kind of bump, and what you want to feel is the sense of just entering the weight into the ground. When we make the sword go, but just play with it. Don't worry so much about the spine being straight or this kind of stuff. Just get the feeling of weight entering the ground. So the weight just kind of enter the ground. A little bit like when we do the swinging exercise too. So the bit more emphasis on pressing the weight down. And also that sense of hinge in the hip. Hinge in the hip, pressing down. Hinge in the hip, pressing down. You just really want a sense of the whole, try and feel the whole weight of the body kind of into the feet and into the ground, kind of spread out into the ground. This kind of feel. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Great. Okay, great. And now in terms of feeling, really get a sense that of your full kind of 360 awareness. So try and feel that when you land the weight, you include the kind of back area in the movement as well. So I just the first you just notice where the tendency usually to be in the front, and you might find also the tendencies in one side. You might find the dominant hand wants to kind of press down a little bit more. You might find that shoulder starts to rotate a little bit more. You might also feel more weight in one leg than the other. So just go to the level of the body first, and then just have a sense of where the weight is kind of spreading out. And if you can, try and get this sense that the weight is kind of spreading all the way. Usually the back's a kind of dead area because everything's happening in the front. Try and get a sense of really including that kind of full 360. Done. That's good, great. Okay, great. And then you want to take it back into this kind of wave movement, but again, emphasize this sense of entering weight down. And then what you want to do is like ride it out to the top. So you press it down, ride it out to the top. Boom, 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 to the top. Boom, boom. And again, get a sense of where the weight is in the body and how that affects the kind of spine. So if you kind of throw it, again, play with doing it, not necessarily wrong, but play with kind of throwing it out, throwing the body out a little bit. So you get the sense of where the body's going to start to kind of tense up. And you want to work towards something where you don't really feel that the body's tensing at all, whether you can feel the movement's going to pass straight up the feet through the body. So you want the sense like you're compressing a spring, kind of boom, boom, straight up, rather than kind of hitting the spring on a wonky point and it's going to go whoop, throw you out. You just want to have the feeling that you kind of spring yourself back up, fully vertical. Again, use the arms, play with them, however you like. Also play with raising the arms up, making it a bit more active. That's good. Yeah, great. Yeah. Yeah, great, good. That's nice. Great, and then the same exercise, just play with the position of the hand. So we're used to being in this position a lot with from the sword way. Get the main thing to feel now is you've got the kind of length coming through, the weight entering the ground, is feel the weight of the body entering out into the hands. So it's trying to get that movement now out of this kind of alignment through the spine into this kind of area with into the shoulders and the arms. The easiest way is actually here, which is good for us because that's where we do all the sword work. But they get the sense that the spine and the hands are really working together, and you get that weight now entering the hands. So it's there, and you're actually focusing now, though you've got the weight entering down, focus on that raise up. So that you want that raise to be heavy, but it should also have the sense that it's really connecting to the back, the spine. So it should actually feel quite light in terms of movement, but you should feel kind of weight in the hand as well. And then just play with the hands a little bit. You can do this a little bit like we do a kind of tiny henko position. Play with palm down, palm up, palms coming through vertical. Just getting that feeling. So hands are connecting into the hips. Yeah, good. Play also with one side, so you've got a sense of the hip. Now start to kind of rotate out. You've got the weight. Now, weight coming out. That's it. Yeah, good. Yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. Nice, nice, nice. Great, and obviously you've got all these kind of positions of the shoulder, all this elbow will all affect the kind of feeling in the arm. The main one is really the head, so just play with the head, again in terms of kind of taking yourself out of alignment and working in alignment, and just notice the difference. Notice, especially if you kind of curl the head down, because you're going to do these kind of movements. For me, it feels like all this area goes kind of dead in a way. There's no feeling of this kind of passing feeling out, so just work with the idea of just playing with different parts, especially the head, and crunching the structure. Feel like you got a kind of trap in the body a little bit. And then play with a little bit more of a kind of funky alignment. So you want to feel that all the time the shoulders are kind of free and open, chest is kind of expanded, especially in that movement up. There. There. Yeah, that's it, good. Great, and then play with it a little bit, just open the movements out with the feet a little bit, so you're kind of coming down into this kind of movement. Again, a little bit like you would kind of dribble a basketball or something, but the key thing is getting that sense of pressure down, a little bit of a raise up, pressure down, a little bit of a raise up. Again, work with both hands, there. Work with both hands, there. That feeling just entering weight, let it kind of pass up through the spine. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, great. Yeah, the main thing here, there's kind of two tendencies. So the one is to go into kind of active. They both kind of go to the arms. So one is to kind of involve a kind of active one where you're starting to kind of come into these kind of positions. Comes from kind of doing techniques and stuff like this, which is where we're kind of working normally. And the other one in a sense is, yeah, coming into these kind of positions where you're a little bit out of the structure and kind of pushing out. So they're kind of similar, but a little bit distinct. But the key one is with this is like surrender the arms to the whole structure of the body. So the key again is this kind of spinal alignment and just work on a sense now that the hands are kind of really soft. So the tendency, especially, this also comes from weapons as well, as everything goes out into the hands. And my tendency is to kind of add with the arm, add with the arm, add with the arm. Feels more powerful, but actually it's kind of pulling you out of the structure, usually. So get a sense that the arms are kind of soft, heavy, but you've got the sense of entering the ground. But again, that key thing is feeling that spinal alignment as you enter the way, where's the spine and the rest of the body, especially the shoulders, just listen to them. As you come out, so you want to feel the shoulders nice and soft, should be nice and free. So, and obviously the more challenging the position, the more active it is, the more difficult it is to kind of hold those positions. The body wants to kind of pull out. Just play with, make it a little bit more active if you like. That's yeah, that's it. Nice. That's it. Nice. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, great. Great. Okay. Great, and then what we want to do is just start to add rotations into it. So it's kind of where we're going with Tainenko, coming into this kind of position. But that sense again of you're going to rotate the body and hit the weight through the ground. Now the problem we've got, especially with Tainenko, is we go through the rotation and then land the weight. But try and have a sense that you're kind of landing the weight through the rotation. So again, just listen to the feet, let the arms kind of release into it, but feel that you're kind of stacking all the time the weight into the ground. Boom, boom. You find the rotation. It's a little bit like you're hitting the ground, coming down into it. Again, just play with the arms, so don't worry about the hand position. Until you find a hinko. Just enough you landing the weight into the ground. Nice and supple with the body. Okay, great. Start to really bring the hands into it now. And again, play with them. Don't necessarily keep to Tainenko. Tainenko is actually a really great position to kind of again feel that weight into the ground. So it's a nice balance position in terms of the body. Really gives you a sense of entering the ground here. So the key thing with this is don't use the arms again like a kind of balancing stick where you're kind of relying on them for the balance. So allow the arms to be free, heavy, but they're just kind of letting the weight pass through. But that sense of keeping them flexible that you have before. You can also let them come down into it, curl them around the body. Around the body. Right. Yeah. Okay, good. Just make this now a little bit deeper. So the movement you're kind of looking for now, if you imagine a category grip, is either coming to the inside and kind of placing the weight through the hand, taking it into a kind of Ikkyo position this way. That first step is the sense of, again, shifting the weight, pressing the weight down through the movement. And the other one you can think of is like kotegaeshi, coming to the outside, again, placing the weight into the hand and pressing through it. But both of them involve really kind of actively going into the lower body. So you've either got a sense of coming to the inside, changing the leg, following that movement back, really play with the feet nice and deep, or going to the outside with the rotation, pressing down, finding the center line. Again, it's just that sense of entering the weight down into the ground. We're either rotating on the inside or the outside. Good. Great, then just play with that kind of second part of the movement, which would either be coming into this position, this sense of riding it out into the Ikkyo, but just that sense of coming out of it, coming into the Ikkyo, pressing down with it. And the other one, if you come into the kotegaeshi, again, that same kind of feeling. You've got the weight entering down and then rising up, coming up into the sweat. Don't worry too much about the technique, it's more about that feeling of the sense of the weight entering the ground and then keeping that weight in the hand, letting it kind of come out of it this way. So again, it goes back to that rhythm exercise. You've got this, and the body kind of coming up into a nice sense of length. So you've got the weight enters down and then springs back up, and then you ride it with the weight. Keeping the weight low as much as you can. There. Yeah, that's it. Very good. There we go. And then the last few hit, just play with, you can keep the same, or you can make it a little bit more complex in terms of the movements of the body. So if you think about techniques like kaitenai, where you've got big movements, lots of rotation, but those same kind of movements apply to it. So that sense of the body staying with the ground, that sense of entry into the ground and then kind of springing out. But just play with it. If you've got a technique in mind, just play with it. But the idea now is just to make the movement a little bit more complex, a little bit bigger, and see if you can maintain that connection through the movement. Keep it nice and slow, so you can really get the sense of stacking the body, keeping the weight, entering the ground. But again, that sense of the spine being free, shoulders being nice and free to kind of express the movement on the ground. Good. That's it. Good. Okay, perfect. Take a Joe. Yeah, so normally we do like work weapons, do some 𝒊𝒏𝒈, do the empty hand. That's usually how the classes go in terms of the dojo as well. One problem with that is the idea like we're training weapon work and then we're somehow translating weapon work into empty-handed work, which is sometimes the case. But rather, I prefer the idea of thinking the weapon's like a tool to train the body all the time. So sometimes it's good to switch it so that you're doing body work or empty-handed work and then doing the weapon work after. So we'll do this some similar kind of exercises just with a Joe. Again, you want the sense that you're now using the Joe as a kind of feedback on what's happening with the body. So just play with this kind of initial exercise, but keep it kind of active. But this sense just that you kind of press down into it. So a little bit like you're performing an Aikido, just the kind of lower portion of it. So just that sense of the weight entering the ground. finding the balance. So play with the hands a little bit. Sometimes if you think about when we're doing Ikkyo, we've got the hand like this, you've got the hand like this. You're doing like a 𝒂𝒄𝒄𝒄, which is a similar movement, different hand position, but they all follow that same kind of logic. Just that last portion, even pressing into the ground. Step. Step, step, step. Yeah, good, good, good. That's it. Yeah. Great. Now, if you want to, you can take this into the ground if you've got a kind of soft surface as well. Play with the, if you don't have soft surface, you don't want to go to the ground. The key one now is just play with this feeling of entering in, and then you're going to keep the sense of the weight through the jaw, and then think about transferring the weight to this way. This way I lost the weight. So you're going to go in, transfer the weight across, keep the pressure in. If you've got the floor you want to go down, just take it in to the ground any way you like. And just maintain that sense of pressure through the ground, releasing the legs, and then coming back up to the. Just play with that. If you don't want to go fully to the ground, just take it. The key part is actually that transition here, there. Just that part. Just maintaining that connection. Yeah. Okay, good. That's it. That's it. Okay. Just play this as a bit of a variation. Again, it's just going back in a little bit more into the weapons. So what you want to feel now is like you've got a spear or a sharp, pointy object, any kind of pointy object. You can do that similar kind of movement. So you're in a kind of spear position with the hands. You can also do it like this as well. Play with the hands a little bit, but again, it's that sense of the weight. So you're going to enter into the ground with it, and then get a sense here of the direction into the ground through the step, thrusting into it this way. Again, keeping the length. And again, that feeling you're really entering the ground, so you've got to kind of step out, press through, find the extension, and then again, that sense of keeping the weight as you press through it into the ground. There, so it's a nice deep exercise. That's it. Just play this movement a little bit. So we're all really used to doing the sense of doing this, the Joe work on this kind of level. So just play with it 3 ways. You've got that sense of this one kind of pressing down through it, coming into it to the ground. The one we're really used to is the sense of doing it on this kind of horizontal position, coming in and out of the ground this way. So just play with that here, because that's where we're kind of familiar working with it. But keep that emphasis again on the center, landing the weight, pressing it out of it, working on this kind of play. And then the other one you've also got is the sense of going from the top. But again, that sense of landing the weight, pushing out of it. And you can do that either up or down. Play with it a little bit, but again, it's just the position of the arms. The emphasis is always on that body, but kind of entering the ground, or entering the ground in that way. It's just a matter of where you are, the arms. And then just play here with a few movements, so you're going the kind of full range of motion now. This movement, again, it's like the kind of 31s, you've got like that, pressing down into it, and then thrusting through. Just really go down to the ground, go as low as you can with it now. So you're working all the way up the body, and then really get a sense that, play with the feet as well, so you kind of move the feet with it, you can press them back with it, but get the sense that you're now fully entering the weight down into the ground. And then again, you've got that step through, back into that kind of position where the end of the jaw is going into the ground. Just work from a really kind of nice high position, and then play with the body, play with the feet. You should be able to, you should feel you can move kind of either foot. So moving the front foot, moving the back foot, just play with it. You can also, if you like, bring in a rotation. But that sense of really entering the ground with the whole body. Working from the top, dropping it in, pressing right through it. Yeah, okay. Whoosh. Yeah, exactly, just like that. Good, buddy. Yeah. Exactly. You ready? Great, and then just think about loosening out the body a little bit. So obviously when we train weapons, we're doing like kata work, the tendency is get the position, stop, go to the next position, stop, all this kind of stuff. So get the sense that you're now fluidly moving through it. So you want the sense of raising up and then pressing the hips down, and really give yourself freedom in the hips. So it's much more about the feeling in the movement. Obviously the form's important, but get the sense that you're really working in a much more flexible kind of system, especially that kind of up-down movement. So the raise, the sink through. And you can also include the second step with it if you like. Keys that transition now from this into the ground. Yes, into the ground. Back. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, if you're lucky, Bernie's got a partner. So if you also imagine you've got weight on the end of the staff or on the end of the jug. So you can imagine a person on the other end, or you can just imagine something like a really heavy, just a heavy load, like a sack of something, or like a nice heavy kind of ball. Imagine you've got like a weight on the end, like a kettlebell or something, and you want to kind of balance it out at the same time, affect the weight of it through the body, affect the weight of it. So just change a little bit how you do it, and especially if the body's stacked out, it can start to pull you away. So imagine the opposite end is equally heavy or more heavy than the back end. So take it a little bit slower, wind into it, there. Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, Ella.
Good night.
Great, and then we're just gonna add a little bit more movement into it. So the best movement with this one is like this kind of block into a hasa. So this sense of rotating through. Here again, that weight down through it. A little bit more emphasis on the body than you would kind of do with the joke, but get the sense of the weight entering, the hands kind of free, coming down into it, and then finding the ground this way. So just play with it, use both sides, that sense of the weight entering the ground through the block, just in the grip, keeping it. And again, sense of entering the ground with the whole body, just to bring a little bit more fluidity into it. Yeah. last minute, just play with this. You're going to do a kind of 3 set. This is like when we do the 10th Kumijo. If you can remember it, don't worry. If you can't, it's the sense of this. You've got the 1, 2, 3 with the body. So just do this in 3 sets. Again, you can start either way, but you've got the sense of the weight entering the ground. 1, 2, 3. And just play with the body nice and loose. You've got that sense again, that sense of the weight entering, springing out, entering, springing out, entering, springing out. You're just doing a set of 3, so you kind of build into it. 1, 2, 3. And just play with the footwork. You can do it on the spot. You can do it backwards, forwards. And the key thing is that sense of the weight. Keeping my body flexible.
Oh, he's moving again.
I'm back. Don't know what happened there. Great. Last few, just to keep it a little bit tighter. So what you want to do now is kind of condense that movement. So this feeling of this, again, kind of goes back to the original exercise. Take it slower, less weight kind of going out, and just that sense of kind of condensing it down. So that same kind of power, same kind of energy, but just a little bit or a lot tighter. So the sense of much tighter to the body without losing that sense of extension. So the sense of extension, but just a little bit more and tighter through the whole body. Smaller, tighter. That's it, perfect. There we go. Yes. Great, perfect. We will stop doing that. Right. Domo arigatou gozaimasu. Great.
Thank you, Michael.
Very much.
Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.